My name is Kenny Hannes, and I've been in clinical remission from a severe case of ulcerative colitis since the end of 2016. In this episode of Good Health Hunting, I'm going to respond to a few questions from my Instagram and YouTube comments. I'm going to show you my current supplement stack, I'm going to show you some of my cool health gadgets, and I'm going to talk to you about my approach to eating out while traveling, and a few other miscellaneous things along the way. So I spend a lot of time working at home from my computer most days. If you're like me and spend a lot of time working at your computer, but you're sitting down at a desk most of the day, don't. Sitting down in a chair most of the day with very little physical activity is a recipe for chronic back pain. What I recommend instead is to get yourself a hydraulic standing desk from FlexiSpot. This is a 2-tier electric standing desk. You use a keypad to adjust the desk height to either a standing or sitting position. You have up to 4 memory presets that will automatically set your desk to any preset height at the push of a button. And this thing is really sturdy and stable. It does not shake. For this desk, you can choose from 3 different desk colors and 2 different desk sizes. I use a FlexiSpot standing desk every day to take stress off of my back by alternating between sitting and standing positions with proper standing posture while I'm working throughout the day. So again, if you do a lot of computer work, do yourself a favor and get yourself a standing desk from FlexiSpot. FlexiSpot will ship the desk straight to you, and the assembly is very easy. I love this desk, and I think you will too. There's a link in the description below. All right, let's take a look at some comments. First, I want to highlight 2 comments that I think are very encouraging. Both from Instagram. This one says, "I have to tell you, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your story. You helped me so much. By following your protocol for only 2 months now, I was able to heal my gut so much that I can stay on my maintenance medicine, mesalamine, and not have to bump up to a biologic. Also, I've fallen in love with Kefir. It's so good. Thanks to you for sharing your story. You are truly amazing and a godsend. Following your protocol is going to keep me in remission, and I agree with you on your theory that UC is caused by a dysbiosis in the gut microbiome. Right before I got diagnosed with UC, I was eating horribly and under tons of stress, but now I'm healthy and better than ever. Thank you." That is awesome. I'm really, really happy and glad that you're seeing improvement, seeing good results. That's exactly what we're looking for. So thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, this next one also thought was pretty encouraging from Instagram. "Man, I'm following your kefir and cabbage juice thing, and my UC just went from a quite bad flare into a non-active state in literally 10 days, LOL. It's awesome stuff. Cabbage juice is really, really powerful. Kefir is really good. I think the 2 complement each other pretty well. Not at the same time, but just in the same daily protocol and the same daily routine for a period of time. Optimizing the gut microbiome, helping to reduce inflammation with the cabbage juice. It's good stuff. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Okay, here is the first YouTube question. "Just curious if there is any substitute for kefir for those who have a milk allergy to whey or casein protein." Yes, I think that the best substitute that I'm currently aware of right now is a homemade coconut milk yogurt. There's this recipe where you order Lactobacillus reuteri or reuteri, however you say it, and you'll order these tablets. And what you can do is you can grind these lactobacillus tablets into powder, and you'll mix it with coconut milk, and you'll let it ferment, similar to the way you would let milk ferment into kefir. And then after the fermentation process is done, the coconut milk yogurt will be ready, and you would consume that either in your smoothies, or you could consume it out of a bowl with a spoon, however you want to. And it's a good substitute for kefir, in my opinion. You could also make coconut milk kefir. So there's I'll link to a article from culturesforhealth.com where they take coconut milk and they essentially just ferment it into kefir the same way they do with normal milk kefir. And if you don't want to do either of those 2 things, or you don't want to do coconut milk, then I think that the next best thing would be to consume a really high quality probiotic supplement. So I really like Visbiome. I think that one's really good. There's another one. Visbiome is actually the medical grade probiotic supplement. Very, very high quality, high powered, specifically designed for individuals with IBD and to treat IBD related dysbiosis. It's a really cool supplement. It is pricey, so that's the downside. And another one that I really like is P3OM by Bioptimizers. And I like Fluorocore GI by AST Enzymes. That one's been old faithful. I've been using that off and on using that since 2015, off and on. So it's a really good one. From YouTube, How do you tolerate the cabbage juice without barfing? It's difficult. It really is hard for me to drink cabbage juice and not want to vomit. It was so helpful for me when I was doing it that as I was seeing the results and the progress, the taste became less of a factor because I was so excited about how much better it was making me. But the taste is bad. You know, I would take a drink and I would like hold myself over the sink because I felt like I was gonna vomit. It was bad. And now I still don't like drinking it at all, but it's a little easier now than it used to be because now I don't have to drink it. So I drink it a few times a year, trying different things, different protocols. I know it's really, really good for the intestinal lining and really good for just maintaining low inflammatory states. And so I really do like that and do think it's an awesome thing. And I want to show you how to do it and stuff. So I do it a few times a year, but it still tastes really bad. What's your opinion on drinking coffee with ulcerative colitis? I was recently diagnosed and I haven't had coffee for about 2 weeks now. I love coffee. I used to drink 1 to 2 cups a day and I can't stop thinking about it. I think that if you're pretty inflamed and you're showing visible symptoms, your bowel movements aren't normal, I think that coffee is probably something you should stay away from because coffee will increase your number and frequency of bowel movements. It does that in individuals who've never had IBD, right? So I would say probably avoid it. And if you get to a point where your bowel movements are feeling pretty good and you're feeling pretty healthy, then you can maybe add in coffee, maybe a few cups a week, depending on how you're feeling. But if you start to notice an increase in symptoms, then I would say hold back off of it. Now, I drink coffee pretty much every day. I love coffee as well. I started drinking it in college, and it's really good. I really enjoy it. I understand the comfort of it, and looking forward to it in the morning. So what I would suggest instead, if you really, really want something warm to drink, there are certain teas that might be helpful. But a great coffee alternative is mud water. Mud water is it's a blend of different types of mushrooms and nootropics and cinnamon and turmeric and a little bit of tea. And I really like it. It doesn't taste like coffee, but it's a great coffee replacement or alternative. From YouTube, make a video about supplements. All right, well, I'll probably dedicate a more in-depth video to that at a later date, but currently what I do every morning is I wake up, I take vitamin C powder, I take about half a scoop, and I mix it with 32 ounces of water, of filtered water in a mason jar. I'll take that in the morning. Then after that, sometime with my first meal, I will take a vitamin D/K2 supplement, and I will also take the Thorne multivitamin, the morning dose with my meal as well. I really think it's important to keep your vitamin D levels up, make sure you're getting adequate vitamin C, and also a good multivitamin/mineral in general. You want to have the proper amount of micronutrients and not be deficient in anything. And then also later in the day, maybe with my first meal or sometime after, I will also take a good probiotic supplement. I really like Visbiome, like I said earlier. Visbiome is really good, Fluorocore is pretty good, and then P3OM. Those are the 3 that I kind of cycle between. But right now I take 1 to 2 packets of Visbiome either with my smoothie or later on throughout the day, generally with a meal. Then finally, the last supplements I take during the day, I take with dinner. I take the evening dose of the Thorne multivitamin supplement, and then I also take 20 milligrams of melatonin just about every night. So I've always had difficulty sleeping, and consistent supplementation with melatonin really has improved my ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. From Instagram, can you share what you use to filter water, please? Yep. I use that guy right back there. That is the AquaTrue water filter. So initially I used a countertop reverse osmosis water filter in college that I got from APEC Water Systems, and I really liked it, but there were some things, it's just kind of a hassle. You had to hook it up and fill up bottles, either every day or every once a week kind of thing, and it just became kind of a hassle. And so I was looking into getting an APEC water filter that would go underneath the sink and would connect to the faucets, and so you could just turn on the tap and you'd have reverse osmosis water come out. But as I was researching those water tanks, Found out that apparently there can be a buildup of bacteria that builds up inside the water storage tanks, and so that can be contaminating your water on the way to the tap. And so the way you solve that is you have to clean it every so often. I can't remember how many times a year you have to clean it, but that sounded like a hassle and I didn't want to do that. So what I decided to go with instead was the AquaTrue. And so the AquaTrue, it's about a gallon worth of water, and what I do is I fill it up, 2 or 3 times a day whenever I need water, and it filters, and that's been way more convenient for me. I really like the setup. We got our little drink station over there, so whenever I want water, I just go over there and fill up my glass, and it's all good to go, and it automatically filters by itself, which is awesome. So it really takes a lot of the just elbow grease out of it, and I can just not think about it as much, which is great. From Instagram. Do a video, please, of how you cope with / manage eating the way you do while traveling, etc. It's something I struggle with. I end up hardly eating anything as it's all processed, or I don't have access to my equipment, or I don't have time. I need a simpler way, even if it's temporary for when on vacation. Quicker and easier, more available options. Yeah, it's a fair question. So traveling can always be tricky. And so what I try to do is I try to focus less on perfection and thinking of like, okay, I have to follow my protocol exactly to a T. And instead I think, okay, what are the options that are available to me? Where can I eat out where I can get as close to the protocol as possible? So kefir and fermented vegetables and all that stuff, it's really important, but it's not practical. You really can't take that on your trips. So what you can do is you can go to grocery stores. You might be able to find some kefir that you can buy there to take with you on the go. You can drink it throughout the day. You might be able to buy a couple. If you're staying at a hotel, you can keep it in your little fridge. You might even be able to find fermented vegetables. But even if you can't, that's okay if you can't find those things. What you can do instead is take a good probiotic supplement with you. Make sure you take that consistently while you're gone. And then for the actual food parts, it's not as hard to stay on protocol as you might think. So really anywhere that you can go that you can order, say, a baked chicken breast and mashed potatoes and green beans or squash, something like that, you can stay on protocol. You could even go to a steakhouse and get a steak. You can get a baked sweet potato or a baked potato, just don't get the toppings. You could have steamed squash at certain places. You can find ways to be as close to the protocol as possible. If you go to a seafood restaurant, you could order, a side. You can order fish with, again, a side of mashed potatoes, or you can even get double mashed potatoes. You just choose the things that are going to be as close as possible to the protocol that you're trying to follow, and don't worry about it being perfect. It's not going to be able to be perfect. That's just part of life and part of traveling. And then another great place would be Chipotle. So you can go, you can get the white rice, you can get the grilled peppers, you can get the chicken, steak, the barbacoa. That would be great. You can add guac would be good. And what's nice about Chipotle is you can get multiple scoops of everything. So if you're really hungry and you want to get 2-3 scoops of white rice, 1 or 2 scoops of meat, guac on the side, and then the grilled peppers, that's great. That's a great meal option for when you're traveling. And yeah, I think that'd be good, pretty good. So it's really not as difficult as it may sound. Sushi is also another great option. It's just white rice wrapped up in nori seaweed. You just make sure you choose the right vegetables that you want. You can get avocado, nice and soft. You can do, really, you can just customize it to be as close to on protocol as possible. Smoothie places like Jamba Juice are a great option. You can go there and you can ask them to make custom smoothies. You can ask them to remove, the processed junk and just have the liquid base be either coconut milk or coconut water or just filtered water if they have it. And you can really be pretty close to on protocol in that regards as well. So it's really more about being creative and just trying to follow the general guidelines rather than how do I bring all of my food with me. It's how can I make the options available to me fit as close as possible to the protocol.
The code is more what you call guidelines than actual rules.
It really takes some creativity, but it's not as daunting of a task as it seems. And then again, another thing that can also help is to supplement consistently while you're gone with probiotic supplementation. If you can find kefir, find fermented vegetables, that's great. And then psyllium husk supplementation. Taking a few capsules of psyllium husk, take the proper dosage, don't over dose, because if you take too much of psyllium husk, it could potentially cause a bowel blockage, and we don't want that to happen. So definitely talk to your doctor before you start taking psyllium husk about the proper dosage. And then what you can do with psyllium husk is that it really helps to bulk up your bowel movements. So it will help to reduce diarrhea, but it also helps to keep the bowels moving along so that you don't get backed up, and it helps to absorb water and just bulk up those bowel movements in general. So yeah, that's just a great way to stay regular and to keep your bowels moving the way you want them to move. Psyllium husk supplementation is good. Probiotic supplementation is good. And then just being creative with the options that are available to you while you're traveling, and try to follow as closely as possible, but not to be crazy about it. Okay, yeah, that's going to wrap up this episode of Good Health Hunting. I know this is a different flavor than the previous episode, and it will probably bounce around like this each episode until I find a rhythm that I really like. And in the meantime, I'm going to be spending a lot more time researching and writing videos that'll be similar to some of the older videos I've done in the past, where they're just more research heavy, talking about different types of therapies and whatnot that will hopefully help to improve your lives, improve your gut health, and just improve your quality of life. So in the meantime, check out teamhannes.com for more information about coaching, consultations, and other blog posts, and also follow us on Instagram at Team Hannes. All right.